It's almost the 4th of July. It's been since the 4th of June that the Twins won a series from somebody. We break down the Marlins series, so you don't have to break down again after watching it. But we can't do it until everyone's hands are inside the boat and we get Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Locked On Twins, your daily go-to source for the top Minnesota Twins insight, discourse, and analysis. Personally, it's my favorite show of the Imperial Locked On Podcast Network, which, by the way, brings you your team every day. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe where applicable. I'm Dave Brown, an MLB writer who never feels welcome in Miami. I'm also a BBWA member and a Hall of Fame voter. Across the Great Plains of cyberspace is Brandon Warne, who wanted Edward Cabrera all along, but Falvey failed to make a great trade, and look where it got him. Brandon was a Twins fan who became a Twins writer, and now he's both. Hooray for Brandon. On the podcast today, the Twins fall to the Marlins 4-1, losing their 8th straight series, if I counted correctly. Matt Wallner hit a home run pretty late, and that's all they could muster against Eury Perez and Miami's bullpen. David Festa did not earn a post-game party, and he put the Twins behind pretty early by allowing 3 runs in the first inning. He did get through 6, so baby steps. Ronnie Enriquez got another save, and he's looking great for the other team. We'll also preview the Rays series and maybe talk a little bit about Bailey Ober's replacement, whoever that is, if we have any energy for it. But first, this episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Oh, Brandon, we're back with another episode of Locked On Twins. We thank Tom for filling in for me yesterday. Another loss. Can't win a series to save their lives. It's been, like I said, I believe 8 since they won a series, June 2nd, and it was the A's. It was that series that they won. Isn't that when? That's when Pablo got hurt, I think, isn't it? And
Sacramento, yeah.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
The pitching has been better. Festa was not great overall, I guess mediocre, but he finished well. He kind of struggled a little bit. Rocco lamented maybe not using the sinker earlier because that looked like a pitch that maybe could do some damage against the Marlins. He gave up a 3 spot early, stayed in for 6 innings, and conversely, the Twins could not get really going anything against Eury Perez, who came in with an ERA over 6. But, I mean, as we all know, he's got a better pedigree than that. He just hasn't had the results so far. So, just not I mean, you know, in the ascension, I guess, of Festa's career, maybe we can look back on this as kind of a learning experience and a building block and all that. But the Twins also need to build some victories at some point. And I presume it'll happen at some point because they've do have a 13-game winning streak under their belts, but it's hard to watch these days, especially when the can't score runs. It always looks worse when you can't score.
Yeah, and 30% of your wins coming on that winning streak is not ideal either. The Twins scored 3 runs in this series, and it was their fewest runs scored in any series of at least 3 games since last September. Shockingly enough, in Kansas City, the Twins scored 2 runs over 3 games, got swept, and continued their descent to
madness.
Fourth place. But in general, I thought Festa looked much better as it went on. In fact, first 3 innings, he gave up 4 earned, 5 hits, 1 strikeout, no walks. Corey was questioning the velo a little bit. I did pull some data. He did have a start 2 starts ago where the velo did not come out as hot as you'd like and kind of rebounded a bit. I think that was Cincinnati. So, though, the last 3 innings, Festa, 0 hits, 0 runs, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. I think that certainly, you know, we've talked about Bailey Ober and how he had the start against Seattle where like all the runs except 1 were condensed to 1 inning. I wouldn't say this is cut from the same cloth. I think this was a guy that just kind of is learning every single pitch he throws. And you could say that about Yuri Perez too. He looked phenomenal, by the way. He and our friend Edward Cabrera both looked tremendous. And Jansen Junk, for all anybody knows about him, he does not walk anybody. And it's surprising to me that he hasn't found a more stable home over his career, because it looks like the stuff's fairly decent too. So, like, it's not like in isolation it's bad that you got shut down by Edward Cabrera and Yuri Perez. However, you're going to run into pitchers like that all season long, and at some point you got to start stacking wins. You're 5 games under 500 right now. Festa digs you a 3-run hole in the first inning, and that's the difference in the game. And really your only run, well, literally your only run, is the Wallner home run. Wallner, by the way, I had data on it, against fastballs dating back to June 13th. This was after he made his first out, the strikeout today. Strikeout off Perez, who, again, good fastball, and then kind of limped off the field. He was hitting 056/128/167 on fastballs over the last month minus 10 days. So probably 20 some odd days. That can't happen. Like, are you at a point where you're like, maybe Matt Wallner needs to have something change, whether it's sitting a little more or going to St. Paul, or are you not there yet?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't notice. What did the home run come today on? What kind of pitch? Do you remember?
I think it was, I'll pull it up just to be sure.
I've seen, while you do that, I've seen, I forget which Twitter user it is. It's, is it Freeman Twins or Free Twins or whatever? He's, he likes to taunt, sort of like Cy Louis does. He likes to taunt the Guardians. But he's got a stat that's really, it's really good reporting on his part, assuming that he did it originally. Matt Wallner on fastballs up in the zone, they're kryptonite, and always have been for him. And he's never ever hit him, and maybe never ever will. I don't know if it's because he's so huge and there's so many body parts that have to get going, and just by the time he gets his swing plane through the upper part of the strike zone, he's toast. I guess that's my instant analysis on that. But
curveball,
curveball. It was
78.5 down in the zone, and he unloaded off. Is it Cade Gibson? But a lefty, left on left. First,
that's good.
His longest home run of the year. I was actually reminded, because we have the people we kind of laugh about how much they hate, and they're haters. And the one guy's like, "Oh, it's almost as if Rocco should just let lefties face lefties." And I'm like, okay, Trevor Larnach passed his left on left splits from last year, plate appearance wise, like a month ago, and he's still been very bad. And the other guy, I was looking at Wallner because I hadn't looked in a while, and he was like, I don't know, 707, 7 something OPS. His OPS against lefties started with a 7, and this was a day or two ago, so the home run certainly helped. But this is one of those guys who insists that Matt Wallner is a war criminal, a terrible baseball player. So I was just like, what are people seeing that incline them to think Twins left-handed hitters should be hitting more against lefties? Is it because the alternatives have been the last 2 years, Manuel Margot and Jonah Bride? And I think, too, there's an element of, well, if the guy doesn't match lefties perfectly, like every single time, you may as well just have a lefty out there flailing away. I don't understand the logical fallacy.
There's an element of maybe a sickness in a certain part of Twins Twitter or social media, where it's like whenever there's a bad outcome, they complain about it as if Rocco did it, or obviously it was the wrong decision. And if the opposite happens, then they get a kind of an opposite reaction. It's the biggest. It's like fake confirmation bias.
They walked Otto Lopez to face Nick Fortes. It was Varland on, I think that was in the opener. And there were people that were like, whoa, wait, why'd you do that, Rockhead? And it's like, Nick Fortes is not a good hitter, and he dumped a ball down the right field line, not that far fair. I mean, Fortes is much more highly regarded for his defense. That was objectively the right call. I mean, I don't think Otto Lopez is going to be hitting third on a good team, but he was a much better hitter in that moment, better option for Clayton McCulloch. And I think that the Twins made the right move. It just didn't pan out.
And, for whatever it's worth, Otto Lopez, I saw a stat in high leverage situations is one of the better hitters in the league this year. So who knows how long that will last, but he's been coming through in those situations. So his results play up in those situations. So I guess if you're going to, you can't, the players on the field at some point have to, you ask, what are you going to do about Matt Wallner? I don't know yet, but what they need him to hit. I mean,
yeah,
I don't think last year was one thing resetting in the minor leagues. They definitely need him to hit. We're going to take our break now and come back and talk more Twins baseball in a moment.
But if you are in the skilled trade and you need supplies, Supply House is the way to go. If you're into or in the fields of plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order your products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. So if you need help with an order, Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. It's like that scene in The Office where they call and they're on hold with the big paper guys, but then they call their office and the lady answers right away. That's the kind of support you're going to get from Supply House. And if you're a trade pro looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5. That's Seth Halverson 5. I almost said Sam Fold. That's not correct. Seth Halverson 5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com.
Locked On Twins has returned, reviewing the Marlins series. Marlins, man, you win again. Fish take 2 out of 3. Twins haven't won a series in 8 attempts, going back a month to the A's series.
And they lost that series in theory by losing Zebby and Pablo.
That's great, Brandon. It's even worse than I thought.
Great mound, Fisher.
Yeah, really. The pitching has been better. 4 runs today. A few days ago, in the last Ober start, they gave up 10. Other than that, since July 25th, 0-1-1. Sorry, June 25th, 0-1-1. The 10, 3-2-1, 4. So that's been better.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, Ronnie Enriquez got the save. I saw Ronnie Enriquez warming up the other day, the first game of the series, and I'm like, no, not Ronnie. But apparently he's going to be their closer now. You look back to the decision to cut him and designate him for assignment. And it didn't work out. I think the choice was him or Funderburk, and Fundy actually matched him in a way with a scoreless inning. So, but that really hasn't worked out.
They could have non-tendered Michael Tonkin too, I guess.
Right, and at his age, maybe that. They could have, but he had an injury. I don't know.
And he cleared waivers when they outrighted him. So, there is, just now, though, different times of the year, different waiver situations. And I think maybe the Twins thought, dumping Enriquez when they did, they thought they probably had a leg up at maybe him coming back on a minor league deal. But didn't work out that way.
Only 25.
Yeah, and he hasn't been perfect. He's given up some home runs. but the stuff is it's incredible. I did see someone saying, "Oh, the rest of the league is crawling with former Twins relievers." Yeah, it's not entirely true, but between Trevor McGill and Ronnie Enriquez, there's a few guys out there that have they've been quite dang solid. And again, if there's any place on this team where you're like, how do you figure you're going to sneak in another body? The bullpen's a pretty tough spot. So I'm not lamenting it too much. Good for Ronnie Enriquez. He's given up some home runs, but hey, the Marlins may have found a gem here. And the bridge to him, Calvin Fauché, also former Twins prospect.
Is he related to Bobby Boucher?
Actually, it was funny because there's a building called the Fauché Tower in Minneapolis. I'm not sure if you're familiar.
I'm not. But
with his teammate, he's Fauché Stowers. Anyway, Fauché was part of the Nelson Cruz trade.
The things that go through your brain. I can relate,
much.
I guess.
A lot of whistling, like a tea kettle.
You know, I think that whole thing about ex-Twins relievers, remember, a lot of them also, it's not like they made no other stops between the Twins and wherever they went and got successful. There's lots of guys kind of bouncing around the league.
Liam Hendricks did that. I mean, he was with 4 teams before he finally locked in with the Blue Jays.
Right. So there's that. I guess it sometimes it would be nice to, but how many problems would Ronnie Enriquez really solve for the Twins? Not that many.
No.
It's still the back of the bullpen or even the middle of it. I can see like the Twins are like, all right, we've got Ronnie Enriquez and Jorge Alcala. We can only have one of them. It's okay. We got to get rid of one.
Well,
we're just bite the bullet.
He wouldn't have gotten the same opportunity here either, for one thing. And I think that alone is, and if you bring him or keep him, you probably don't sign Danny Coulomb, right? You probably are.
Because actually, that's like literally the person that took his roster spot.
Yeah. So I mean, I can't feign outrage, and it's been pretty easy for a lot of people to do that. Like it's not rage bait, but it's definitely like people are showing their difficulty in regulating emotions from game to game, because it goes from it's over to, well, maybe it's not fire everybody. Like that's why they say ride the wave.
Hey, did people take a long time to get over Brent Rooker?
I don't think so. And that's the other thing is Rooker is kind of like the Liam Hendricks of hitters. He isn't a specialist to the sense of a closer, but you probably don't want him in the field that much. He's whatever. I don't think he's a starting outfielder on a very great team, but the A's they're trying a lot of things, and you could probably cover up a lot of woes with Denzel Clark in center field too. I
was going to say Brent was on the field when Denzel Clark made that catch in Anaheim. He was in left field. So he was near him, and he was shouting support.
The aura. He felt the aura.
We complain about, exactly what he offers on defense, but I would say let's just chill a little bit. It's not all terrible.
And that trade made sense. I mean, Rogers was about to be a free agent. They got Paddock at a time when their pitching wasn't as good. And Paddock as a prospect, I think people forget, was a pretty dang well-regarded prospect. I'm not saying he was ever like crazy high in the top 100 or anything, but it was strikeouts and walks were great. If you kept the ball in the ballpark, you had a chance. And I think, as I recall, it was, it's San Diego. He should be able to do that. He had one decent year and then couldn't stay healthy. I'm not completely out on him. And as far as like future, how good he can be, I just think it's a weird timing with the Twins where, I mean, they're not going to re-sign him. He's going to get some multi-year deal that they're not going to want to touch. So I get why they made the trade. In Pagan, in a fair world, Pagan and Rogers could have the same exact stats, and they got 2 years of Pagan instead of 1 year of Rogers. Now, 2 years of Pagan sounds like more of a threat than a promise, but he was pretty good that second year, I'll say.
Yeah, and as far as Enriquez goes, I think maybe Twins fans should don't look at Caleb Thielbar's ERA or Steven Okert's ERA either if you're not interested in getting some angina. So, hey, I look at it like this. The bullpen's deep. The bullpen hasn't been a problem. I see all these guys eventually pitching well somewhere else. I think, well, that means the Twins have good scouting. That's what it means. They can't keep all of them. They know how to identify good players. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it works out for a little while. Sometimes it works out for a long time. Sometimes it doesn't work out. They leave and they find
works out for somebody else
again.
I think Aaron Sabato is cut from a similar cloth as Rooker. College masher. Obviously, Sabato, you don't want him anywhere near the outfield, of course. But he looks like if that what was the kid's name? I'm Big Al and I hit dingers. That looks like the real life adult manifestation of Big Al. And honestly, Ty France has not been that great lately. I wonder if we've kind of teased the idea of maybe someone else would want France at some point this year if the Twins don't get it together. That would probably be the runway for either Sabato or you just say, listen, Eddie Julian, you got a half a season at first base, or Luke Keeschel. I'm interested in seeing what Sabato can do, though, and I think that could be more of an option than we're giving credit for.
I'm hopeful for Sabato. He did just get to AAA, and it seemed like it's been taking him a while to get used to whatever level that he's on. I think I guess I'm a Ty France apologist or defender or whatever. He is sinking toward his stats last year with the Mariners and the Reds, but I also think that give him a little more time to get hot. Guys aren't going to have great months every month, and I think if he's still flailing away at the end of this month, then maybe you can start to look at Sabato, and we're also going to look at the stats as far as how everyone else is doing. There've been a bunch of people who haven't been hitting. It's not just Ty France.
Well, and the defense matters. I mean, I know first base defense gets kind of poo-pooed, but
he had a poor May. I mean, in June, this isn't great, but in June, France hit 276, 330, 408. You want a few more bucks on the slugging percentage, but I don't know.
But if he did that for the whole year, he's Carlos Santana.
Right, exactly. So, speaking of Carlos Santana, we're going to go out in the hallway and have a drink and have something, and then come back and talk more Twins after this break.
Do you ever wish managing your money felt easier? I sure wish I did, because it's here today, gone tomorrow sometimes. Well, that's why you need Monarch Money, because with it is easier to manage your money and help build wealth. You can grow your savings. If you're planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat, and it's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. It's more than a budgeting app, though. Monarch Money is a complete financial center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and your spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. Find out if you are spending maybe too much money on food delivery, a little bit too much on, gas. Not that you can really, I guess, change that much about how much gas you use, but maybe you're out doing a little riding around on Friday night if you're, not 40 like me almost. But you do see those subscriptions or those other things that maybe were in the back of your head, but you didn't remember that were coming out every single month. I have one that comes out every single month, and it's actually 2 transactions for the same place. And every single time I'm like, I should cancel that. And Monarch Money's like, it's time, bro. Let's do it. So I'm doing that here after we're done. But if you share finances too with a spouse or a partner, Monarch helps you stay on the same page. You both have access to it, which is a tremendous feature. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at Monarch Money, and you'll get 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. You're muted.
Yes, hello.
Hey.
Locked On Twins has returned for our final segment. Sorry, I was clearing my throat, and I didn't want everyone to hear it while you were doing your lovely commercial, and then I
Yeah.
forgot that I had muted. It's story of my life, Brandon. So we're in our final segment. The Rays are coming in. Zach Littell is going to pitch. He's one of their bearded starters. They have a few of them. He's going to pitch on Friday. Who's going to take Bailey Ober's spot in the rotation? You talked about with Tom. Bailey Ober going on the injured list with his hip impingement, which Rocco said 3 weeks ago wasn't an injury. Okay, Rocco. Now it is apparently, but it is going to give Ober a chance to reset mentally and figure something out and, I don't know, rub his hip a little bit. Who do you bring up? As far as the AAA roster, I think there's two choices because I'm going to read some ERAs in a moment, but I think Travis Adams, Marco Raya's ERA is 7.15. I think if you bring up Marco Raya, you're asking him he's going to have a bad day. He has had some really good outings to go with some really bad outings.
It's Chase Petty energy, though. If anybody saw what Chase Petty did with the Reds, another nice trade, Falvey. Yeah, you're looking at a guy giving up five earned or 6 earned in 2 innings and burning your bullpen for a long time. So I agree with you there. Unless you have a planned opener situation with him, and even still, I mean, I was looking. The Rays hit lefties okay. I thought maybe they would do a situation with, and then I hate it. Believe me, I hate it. With like Joey Wentz with an opener, and
oh boy.
And I did see though Colby Allard was DFA'd by the Guardians. It would not
excited about Colby Allard. I'll give you that.
No, I won't say that I'm that, but that flip flop would make a ton of sense. He's been, by Baseball Reference, worth nearly 1 win above replacement. Not striking anybody out, but has been decent. If you're going to have a rotating door in that spot, he threw, I think, 3 innings in each of his last 2 appearances with the Guards. And like literally those strikeouts, like 4 strikeouts per 9 innings. Like we're going way back to like Mike Palfrey or even further back, like Joe Mays not striking anybody out. But I wonder if they would use up Wentz on Saturday, DFA him, and then bring in someone like Allard. They have the 40-man spot. So it's with Bride being outrighted to St. Paul. I didn't know. I guess maybe that's his first DFA clearing, so he didn't have a choice. But I did not have it on my bingo card that he was going to be in St. Paul. So anyway, who's going to start though? That's the big question. I mean, I wonder if it won't be Danny Coulomb starting, Adams as the bulk guy. But I even said it with Tom. You got to think about giving Rich Hill or Kyle Gibson a call, don't you?
Yes. I think you do.
This is Dallas Keuchel, Bartolo Colon territory. Those teams both won stuff. Like they did not do it in a desperation that showed they were going to lose 100 games. It was, listen, this is an all hands on deck situation, and you get a 40-man spot. You don't have to make a tough decision to cut Carson McCusker or whoever. This is not anything like that. It's just, hey, bring a guy in for 2-3 starts. If he gets bombed, it's no different than what you were getting before, and you weren't forced to run Marco Raya up here before he's ready.
Travis Adams, though, might be the guy because they did bring him up before. He didn't pitch, but they brought him up. He's pitched 63 innings at AAA and has a 3.68 ERA. He has made 5 starts. He's kind of transitioned into a long relief or setup man kind of a thing. 243 batting average allowed. Not quite a strikeout per inning. But some of the other possibilities, just Darren McCucken, 5.37 ERA.
He's been working
Randy
as a bulk guy.
Yeah.
He worked in bulk after Jose Urena on last night.
Right. Yes. Where was it?
Dobnak.
And Dobnak, 7.12 ERA. 7.12. That's really high.
Yeah.
It doesn't really do it for me. So Travis Adams Rich Hill is kind of a commitment. It's kind of a big deal. And I don't know, we've talked about this before ad nauseum. Are they in a position to offer anybody a new major league contract? You know, and it would have to be Rich Hill wouldn't leave, I don't think, unless he was paid for the whole year. I think.
I would think so. Yeah.
So that would be.
I mean, maybe
costly,
a prorated $2 million gets it done, but I don't know.
I don't know. So, Andrew Morris. So, but Bailey Ober is going to be.
Morris is hurt.
Morris is hurt.
Morris is down.
He's that's not going to work. That's too bad. The Twins just don't have a lot of options. Their options from the minor leagues, for the most part, have been up already. We just saw one of them pitch today, so it's just not. They don't have enough depth to, sustain themselves. And even if you do sign Rich Hill, I don't know that he's 45. His numbers in the minor leagues have been great, but I don't know if that is something that has any staying power.
Right.
They tried it once before. It didn't really.
Yeah. 5 years ago too. Or no. Yeah, 5.
It was a quick 5 years though, because of COVID.
Yes.
And speaking of quick, we're quickly out of here. We want to thank you for making Locked On Twins your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. So for my friend Brandon Warne, this is Dave Brown wishing you all a very pleasant good evening from Twins territory, saying we will, Alexei, see you tomorrow night. Do 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 do.